Hello and welcome to the newest edition of the Vulcan Sportswire. I'm Gary Smith and joined, as always, from a secret location in the middle of campus. Last week we ruled out it was the Newell Water Tower, and this week I'm going to rule out it's the Booker Towers. Sports Information Director Extraordinary Matt Kiefer. Matt, by the end of the season this year, people are going to find you. I'm just leaving out little clues for them.
Well, I'm pretty sure they could find me relatively easy between People Finder and being 2021. It's really not that hard to find anybody anymore, it seems like.
Listen, I was on People Finder today, and I didn't find the people I was trying to find, so I wouldn't say that that's 100% accurate. So, and I'm sworn to keep the secret, so they'll have to find it other ways. But Matt, we're a little bit more relaxed today as the spring semester slowly winding down, but there are a few things that happened in the past week, and we're going to start first with baseball as they made their foray into the 2021 PSAC baseball tournament. A little different look this year. And the way it was structured due to COVID and just the way the world is now. But California last week went up to Mercyhurst, and although the result wasn't what Cal expected, they did get some national recognition. So I'll let you take it away with everything from the Hearst.
Yeah, again, the PSAC this year, softball did the 3-3-3 combination, basically. Baseball did a single-game elimination for first round, then a best-of-3 in the semis, and a best-of-3 in the finals. So an elimination game, basically MLB wildcard version kind of thing. Cal went up to Mercyhurst and suffered a 10-3 loss against the Lakers. Vulcans actually took a 1-0 lead in the first inning. He was looking good there. Kind of a fluke kind of lost in the sun by the right fielder. Let the Vulcans take that lead in the first. But Mercyhurst came back in the third and then tied it up at 1-1. Vulcans responded, as they had all year. Catcher Justin Stewart hit a solo homer in the fourth to give him a 2-1 lead. I thought maybe that might be enough to get the Vulcans some momentum there. But Mercyhurst got 3 runs in the fourth inning. And at that point, basically everybody who followed the baseball program, Mercyhurst and the PSAC, knew what was going to happen once Mercyhurst got a lead in the PSAC tournament. Michael Krause was coming in the game, and once he came in, he basically shut the door. Retired the first 14 guys in a row he faced in order. Didn't give up a hit until 2 outs in the ninth inning. Stewart had his second home run of the day. But again, Krause basically just slammed the door on the Vulcans, any chance of a comeback. And Vulcans actually gave up 4 home runs in the game. Only the second time all year they've given up 4 long balls. And of the 10 runs, Mercyhurst got 8 of them with 2 outs. So, I mean, Cal was right there in so many innings, putting them away before he got those big innings. But, I mean, Mercyhurst got 3 runs in 3 separate innings. And you get those kind of crooked numbers, it is just going to be tough sledding, especially going against Krause and the staff the way the Lakers have it. So,
and one of the things you mentioned there that people may not have realized, if you're following Vulcan baseball and D2 baseball and PSAC baseball year, most times it's a 7-inning doubleheader, but when you get to the playoffs, it's 9 innings. So a lot more strategy with how to manage the pitching staffs, and then just a lot more opportunities to get those bats out. And ultimately, like you said, once they took that lead, Mercyhurst, just a shutdown bullpen, actually not even a bullpen by committee, just a bullpen guy that just is tough.
Yeah, he's a St. Bonaventure transfer. He actually leads the conference, I think, with 10 wins now as a reliever, which is an absurd stat. But Cal lost the game, but they definitely gained national attention, and our social media was blowing up basically the next day. There was a double play turned early in the game between Anthony Venezia at second and Jacob McCaskey at short. And it is an absolute stunning play. I tried to describe it the best way I could in words, but luckily SportsCenter caught wind of the play, and it was actually the number 1 play on SportsCenter on their top 10 plays this past week. So that is some pretty unique fact that the Vulcans were able to get that. And again, it just was one of those things great for the Vulcans. They get that. I know Anthony and Jacob were both very humbled by being able to say they were on SportsCenter. And it was great to see Division II baseball, the PSAC, and Cal be represented on the biggest stage basically in the world of SportsCenter anymore. Everybody watches it, everybody watches it on YouTube and Twitter, but that thing had so many thousands of views on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. That was tremendous for the Vulcans to get that kind of impression for the ending of the season there with a double play that you just do not see very often.
Well, watching the play a few times, when you see it first, my first reaction was that's a great flip, and then the throw was secondary. But then you watch it again and just see, like, the flip was great, but the throw McCaskey had to make, because that was pretty much all arm, and he was flying over the player. And then you look at it a third or fourth time and just realize that, those two players have to be in sync, and you can tell they've played next to each other all year. But each time you watch that play, you gain more and more appreciation for just how great that play exactly was.
Yeah, Venetia covered so much ground in the play. He's a tremendous middle infielder. He's been able to go between second and short all year with Jacob McCaskey going to third, short, pitch, whatever. So he has that versatility. But Anthony plays such a great second base. And you referenced McCaskey's arm. There's no shortstop I'd take in the league with an arm compared to McCaskey. And it definitely showed why on that kind of play, being able to put that much effort on it. To be able to complete the double play. I think a lot of people at Mercer assumed, okay, great play, fielder's choice, get a guy on first. No, let's end the inning with double play and get back into the box there for the Vulcans on offense.
And it was, like you said, it was great for those two players to get that recognition. And this past week, actually, in the past several hours, there's been more recognition for the Vulcan baseball team as the all-conference nominations and selections have been announced. And since you told me them, but I didn't write them down, I will say, let's take it away, Matt. And who got honors for the Vulcans this year in the PSAC baseball?
Yeah, today on Tuesday, basically the Vulcans had 8 players named to the All PSAC West teams. 4 on the first team, 4 on the second team. Perfect balance there for you non-math majors. So 4 on the first team. Nick Riggle got the award for the second time in his career. He got it as a junior back in 2019. Justifiably so. They're getting 7 wins, leading the league with 12 starts. Jacob McCaskey basically doing everything offensively for the Vulcans, basically leading them in every single stat, home runs, RBIs, average on base, slugging. So he got the nod at shortstop. Anthony Venetia actually got it at utility. So one of those for recognition for his great work at both second and short, being a leadoff hitter, getting about 18 stolen bases. So he was a great player there. And also Loudon Conti at third base getting the award. And it's great to see Loudon get the honor there. He's been a stalwart of the program and been around the program for obviously 20-plus years with his dad being the coach. But he had a great year, set career high in home runs. Didn't commit an error at third base in league play. And, third base is one of the toughest positions to play. You're always almost guaranteed an error at some point. But, again, playing all those games this year in league play without committing an error. So it was great for him. And then the second team, Dylan Broski, Brownsville product, got second team and was number 2 in this rotation and led the team in wins with 8. David Lee, a designated hitter. Patrick Brogan in right field. And so, again, great job by the Vulcans there, getting so many guys getting honors this past weekend. And Patrick Gumpto got second team as well. I can't think of the Vulcans in 2021 without seeing Mr. Gumpto because it seems like every single weekend he was at least making 1-2 trips out there to the mound. And absolute stalwart. Would be hands down first team all conference. Again, if it wasn't for Krause at Mercer's getting 10 wins as a reliever, really just changed the game and dynamic for all the awards for relief pitchers possibly this year, knowing that Krause is in that mix. Gumpto an ERA that was absurd, had a good number of wins, a handful of saves. Everything you want out of a reliever, just, again, Krause's 10 wins, it's just going to trump everything anybody does. But Patrick Gumpto was a huge impact player for the Vulcans this year, and great to see him getting all conference recognition.
One of the good things about that list of names that you just went through is a lot of those names we will hear again in 2022 season because a good nucleus will be coming back for Coach Conti and the baseball team.
Yeah, it's one of those things with the idea of last year being such a wash for everybody's eligibility year. I mean, you saw this year how everybody does it differently. Some advance years, some don't. We went with the idea of advancing years. Loudon is listed as a senior, but all expectations are he returns back for another year with the Vulcans. And everybody else outside of Nick Riggle has eligibility remaining as well. And Nick came back for the 5th year, and great to see him get the awards and the accolades and praise that he deserved throughout this last season. But everybody else should be back for the Vulcans. Grades are never an issue with the baseball team. Those guys are always going to be high academics, good coming back, good representations of the institution. So excited to see them back at Wild Things Park here sooner rather than later, believe it or not. It's going to go very quickly before we're back out there in the frigid colds.
I've already started looking for my February long johns and thick socks in anticipation for getting there because, as we know, once we get back in the full swing of things, time just it's crazy. It seems like it takes forever to get through seasons, but then you tick off the dates and it goes crazy. And like you said, we'll be there next year. And congratulations to all those players on receiving their honors from the PSAC in a great season. And Matt, as we close the book on baseball for this week, there was one other team in competition this week, and they were down in Mount Olive, North Carolina, the track and field team.
Yeah, Mount Olive had a couple different kind of events on one Friday, Saturday, and one on Sunday. Everybody in the country, basically in Division Two, is looking for these last chance kind of meets to get in there. Mount Olive actually called theirs first chance in multi, and then the second one was called the final qualifier. So they had a couple different opportunities to try to hit the NCAA marks and maybe get somebody to climb up the national performance list, or at least have one more chance at improving their standings if they already did hit it. On the men's side, Jalen Cloud was the only representation down in North Carolina. He competed in the triple jump on Saturday, and he went about 45 feet, but was unable to make the mark. So, again, great job by him. He actually put his season best distance 3 weeks ago at 14 meters. I know you know exactly what that conversion is, Gary.
Yep.
That's almost 46 feet when you convert 14 meters. So that's a heck of a leap. But Jalen, again, is technically a senior, but we'll see again what his options are, what he chooses to do if he comes back again. And on the women's side, Devon Franklin competed on both Saturday and Sunday, and so did Aaron Meckler. Devon did not improve her time at all, but at the same point, competed against some good competition. She finished second on Saturday behind the unattached runner, which took me a little bit of Googling, but that's the power of Google. She actually finished behind somebody who won the GMAC title in the 100-meter hurdles from Tiffin. So, again, going against different competition for sure. Tiffin's not a team we face too often right now. And the 4x1 actually improved their time as well, but unable to reach the NCAA provisional marks. But a good number of Vulcans on the women's side went down. All fared well in their events, but nobody, again, hit a season best time outside the relay or was able to climb up the performance list this past weekend in North Carolina at Mount Olive.
And like you said, at the end of the day, despite the fact, a lot of competitors didn't reach the mark, that's just great to get against competition like that, against schools and runners and athletes that you don't see all the time. And honestly, there's probably no better place in the country in the middle of May than North Carolina. The humidity hasn't hit yet, and it's just beautiful country down there. And Matt, you mentioned NCAAs, and I believe we have some NCAA selections that are coming out. We're shooting this a day early, day Tuesday, 2:42. So by the time everyone sees it, it'll be out. But what do you have for us in NCAA selection land?
Yeah, this year in the NCAA championships on the women's side, CalU had two individuals reach the provisional marks. And the Devon Franklin reached the mark in the 100 meters at 11.65 seconds in the 100 meters, and she's slotted number 15 in the country right now. So you think that's normally right around the cutoff line. We'll see what it ends up being. Some years it's more, some years it's not. So it's tough to say, but hopefully she has a chance there. Then also in the high jump, the outdoor freshman, sophomore overall, Beyonce Kelly, with her 5'8" clearance in the high jump we talked about a couple weeks ago, basically jumping over our heads. She is tied for 13th in Division II, so that should make the mark as well. But again, that final decision will not be released from the NCAA until Tuesday at 6 p.m. So again, by the time this gets out there, people will find the information if they did or did not make it. Hopefully they did. The NCAA championships, you talk about North Carolina being a great spot to go. Yeah, they're going to Allendale, Michigan. Ooh. For the championships on the campus of Grand Valley State on May 27th through 29th. So still a couple weeks away. But again, this is the last event of the entire athletic year for the Vulcans. Will be the NCAA championships. Hopefully they have a couple representations there, because obviously last year outdoor was completely canceled, and indoor had the, I guess, misfortune of basically getting everybody there and then pulling the rug out and saying, no, we're not competing. So we're really putting a wrench into the plans of how things went last year. So a chance hopefully for Devon and Beyonce to have one more chance and see how they do on the national stage against obviously some of the best athletes in the country at this level.
I tell you what, Matt, each and every time you talk about that high jump of 5'8", I think next year's Open will be me and you back to back, with her going over top of our heads and Sportswire coming out, kind of like the old NBC The More You Know thing. So we'll get some nice music. So we'll work on that over the summer. So just keep that in the back of your head. You never know. You might grow by then. You might be like 5'10", 5'11" challenge. But I think you and I have both at all the growth spurts we're getting vertically, at least at this point in our life. Yeah, I was going to say, if we start growing anymore, we're going to be in medical journals, because I think we're way past that. I mean, every morning I wake up and hope that I am a little bit taller, but unfortunately just the hair gets a little grayer, and that's what happens. But so that puts the ribbon on track for this week. And one other sport we want to talk about this week, they were eliminated for competition a few weeks ago. That's the softball team, but the all-conference selections came out, and CalU was well represented.
Yeah, on May 12th, again, was last Wednesday before the baseball game started. Actually, it was during the baseball game when it was announced. Freshman Brittany Wilson was named the top freshman in the PSAC West. She's actually the 8th Vulcan to be named the PSAC West Freshman of the Year since 2009. So no problem getting young talent coming in for the Vulcans and head coach Rick Bertinoli given that kind of accomplishment. But she also got all PSAC West second team honors at third base and was joined on the second team by her sister, Brooke Wilson, a senior who looks to also be coming back next year as well. And fellow freshman designated player Shayna Posler also received all PSAC West second team. So Vulcans with 3 players there, all coming back for the Vulcans. And again, so many young people, we referenced it last week and all season long, so many young players on that roster expecting to come back and see even more experience next year and see how the Vulcans do at Lily Field here, getting a whole fall ball to practice on it and coming back with a full season again back here on campus.
Oh, and definitely it's going to be fun watching that team grows. We saw this year, you could see from the first game that we covered, the first game back at Lily Field to the end of the season, that, the growth that team is having. So that's a great accomplishment. And like I said, look forward to, again, it's going to be here before you know it, back out at Lily Field for 2022. But congratulations to those players. And Matt, one other softball note, there's a little thing coming up in Tokyo in July called the Olympics. And Callie's going to have a rooting interest in that.
Yeah, again, hopefully, again, the Olympics continue on. I did do a little bit more of the power of Google. The idea they will still be called the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, even though it will be the 2021 season. But Natalie Weidman, a former absolute standout for the Vulcans during her career, graduated in 2014, played second base, but also was primarily catcher, will be representing Team Canada at the Olympic Games. She'll be the third KU softball player to play for Team Canada. They had representation in 2000 in Sydney and 2008 in Beijing, which was actually the last year they had softball in the Olympics because it was canceled from the Olympics and brought back. Anticipated last year, but be coming back this year. And again, Natalie was the actual national catcher of the year in Division II. Her senior year was an academic All-American, both catcher and second base in her career, and helped the Vulcans win the PSAC tournament as a senior when she was named the Player of the Year and MVP of the conference tournament. So Natalie was a dominant player for the Vulcans. And the Vulcans won a ton of games when she was here. So I know she's been waiting to have this chance to come back and represent her home country for a number of years since she's graduated. And then the idea of having last year the Olympics canceled, being able to come back again, it's nice for her to at least be able to have that chance. And I don't know if you read the whole story, Gary, but she's going to be playing with former MLB players Jason Bay and Brett Lowry's sisters on the roster for Team Canada. So again, plenty of familiar names there for people who follow MLB baseball with Lowry and Bay, both guys who were up for Rookies of the Year back when they made their debuts in the mid-2000s for the Blue Jays and the Pirates.
Well, I got
full circle there.
I like that, and I actually did get to the name Jason Bay in your story, and then it sent shockwaves of just how disappointing the Pirates were from about the mid-2000s to about 2013. So I think my brain just shut off whenever I saw his name. But that's a heck of an accomplishment, though. And we have a few months so we can figure out what the time difference is between California and Tokyo, so we can figure out what time those games will be on, because that'll be something fun to watch. Someone that we've seen at Old Lily Field now, I guess we can say that, for so many years and do so many great things. So just an outstanding accolade for her and the Vulcan softball team.
It's one of those things. I mean, it's late July. I think it's 22nd to the 27th they'll be running. And, again, you'll be able to find the Olympics, I'm sure, all over any streaming device, any channels you want. They'll definitely be able, by them coming back again on the national scale. Not sure what the attendance will be allowed to have there and who's allowed to travel internationally at that point. But no question, it's great to have the Olympics be back, at least on schedule as of right now, and hopefully have the opportunity to watch some great international competition across all sports games.
That'll be nice. It's just another when those happen, it'll be another nice just reminder of life hopefully coming back to normal, not only here but also globally. But also something that shows life getting back to normal is me asking you an off-the-wall question in the show. And again, I don't tell Matt these ahead of time, so we're getting the most honest and raw answers. But Matt, I told you I've been reading a book on the 1989 Senior League of Baseball called Extra Innings. I recommend it to any baseball fan. Arriving in the mail today was the 1989 Top Senior League series. But
We're
my
gonna get that
question,
before the Amazon Steelers get that off your porch there. I mean, you don't want to steal that.
listen, in Hiller, it goes to the post office, man. I'm protected, so that's how we know something's wrong in Hiller. If there's something going on at the post office, you just don't get the mail that day. So we're good there. It's in my car right now, which I probably shouldn't have told you because you know what I drive and where I park. But my question to you is, if the Senior League of Baseball were to come back, and the age ranges for that was pitchers over 32 and position players over 35, if it were to be announced today that it's coming back this fall, who'd be the one player you'd like to suit up once again down in Florida?
That's a tough call, man. I got to watch a lot of guys play. I mean, Bautista's just retired. I saw him in his heyday. I don't really need to see that. Jeter would be kind of cool to see. But you know what? We'll go somewhere off the wall because we see the guy. He's relatively local. We'll go see the mayor. Let's see Sean Casey swing the bat one more time. Why not?
I'd be okay with that.
County guy. Not a guy you would think I'd pick, but I'm like, you know what? I'll just pick somebody random for you. And there's no way you're going to think I'm going to pick the mayor, Sean Casey. Why not?
I was thinking I thought we were going to hear like 4 or 5 Blue Jays names coming back to back to back. Or you know what? Jason Bay. I wouldn't mind seeing him swing a bat. He can redeem everything for everything in the mid-'90s. It was Jason Bay, Xavier Nady, and I forget who the third member of that outfield was. And it's sad that I can remember that.
I still remember Nady getting traded to the Yankees and people getting upset with that. I'm like, it's Xavier Nady. He's really not going to hurt anything with getting him off the Pirates.
One of the worst trades that I felt in my soul was whenever they traded Tony Plush. I can't think of his. I have his Nigel Morgan. They traded him, and my friend Ryan Coons, who worked at the Pirates at the time, was able to get me the jersey before they threw it out. So I have a Nigel Morgan autographed jersey in my house, but I always loved him because he was fast.
Nigel Morgan might want that jersey back.
Well, he can't have it. That's my pride and joy. And if only I could get an Ike Taylor autographed jersey, we'd be set. But just the fact that he referred to himself as Tony Plush in interviews, that sealed it for me for him being my favorite Pirate for that 2-year period.
2-year period. That's a pretty synopsis, tight window there. Pirates history.
Well, I think we've covered everything. We've covered Major League Baseball. We've covered the Olympics. We've covered Cal baseball, softball, and track.
You still have Vulcans of the Week, though. You still have one more left.
I was testing you. We got the Vulcans of the Week, Matt. And you know what hurt me is usually they're done, but we're shooting this on Tuesday. It's 2:52 on Tuesday, so it slipped my mind. But what is the big reveal for the Vulcans of the Week this week?
Yeah, baseball, again, only having one game, and they lost. But at the same point, you can't overlook what catcher Justin Stewart did, hitting 2 solo home runs in the game. You obviously wish some of those came on base. But again, really making that impressive, I think, for Stewart, who's catching so many games this year and playing so many innings behind the plate and getting so many foul balls, foul tips, everything off the plate there. But actually, his first 2 career home runs, he entered the game with no homers and 183 career at-bats, and he got 2 of them in one game. So that is the true definition of the beauty of baseball, that you never know what you're going to see. But again, Justin Stewart on the men's side, a great accomplishment for him, and hopefully has a great summer, can heal up a little bit and come back and be ready to play again. And on the women's side, we're going to go with Jalissa Mackey in the 100 hurdles, and was also a member of the 4x1 that improved their time. She actually had improved her time in the 100-meter hurdles, but it was wind-aided, so technically it doesn't count, but we're going to count it for this measure. She ran a time of 14.55 seconds down in Mount Olive. So, again, great to see her in her career. Been a great member of the Vulcans the last 2 years. Basically, I was talking to Coach earlier today, went from a walk-on status last year to winning the conference title in the 100-meter hurdles. So not too bad in 2 years with the program, going from walk-on to conference champion in 2 different events, obviously being a member of the relay as well at the conference meet. So both those individuals wrap up the last Vulcans of the Week for the 2021 spring semester. And
congratulations to those athletes because, like you said, each and every week, I know it's always tough for you to pick who they are because, I mean, it's been an exciting spring season for Vulcans of every sport that we've had. And if you can look here, that's another reason why I didn't notice it, is my handwriting is horrible. So I apologize. But that's why Matt has it written down on the dry erase board behind him.
Luca's over in daycare. He started coloring last night. So, I mean, if you want competition, I'll go get you a 1-year-old. He just turned 1. So we'll have a competition out there another year or 2. We're ready to go.
I would feel very confident in saying his handwriting is a lot better than mine. And I have a 3.5-year head start on the little guy. So, yeah, he like I said, next year he'll be the 3rd member of the show.
Oh, sounds good. I'm sure he wouldn't mind doing it.
Well, that ends this week's kind of crazy edition of the Vulcan Sportswire. As always, for the most up-to-date information for Vulcan Athletics, follow or go to their webpage at calvulcans.com, and also Cal Vulcans at Twitter and Cal Vulcans on Instagram. So for Matt Kiefer, I'm Gary Smith. We'll see you next time on the Vulcan Sportswire, and go Vulcans.